Good afternoon. It's Rebecca Happy here with Woo Infinity. And today we're on another Woo Spiritual Summit Speaker Spotlight with Bev Barnes. And you're going to hear all about what she's doing all the way from M.S. So if you don't know where that is, it's up northern Quebec. Welcome, Bev. And
Thank you.
thanks so much for joining us. I'm happy to meet you. I've just seen like this little picture of you for the past month or so. And I'm I'm delighted to hear that you're from this town called M.S. Not that I've ever been there, but it just brings a smile to my face. And hear more about what you're doing as a coach for life coaches.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for doing this spotlight. So I have been coaching coaches, working with coaches for about 15, 20 years. And I've been coaching for like 25 years. I think I started coaching when people didn't really know what coaching was. And so what has happened is I trained life coaches for over 10 years with an international company, Martha Beck, who had a column in the Oprah magazine. So I trained life coaches for over 10 years. And what I realized was that there were a lot of coaches that took life coach training, but they never did anything with their life coaching. And what's happened, time's passed, and we went through the pandemic, this 2-3 year period, and the space, like people had time to question, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? A lot of people finally were rethinking, who am I in the world, and who do I want to be in the world? And so my people often are people who have taken life coach training in the past. They didn't do anything with it, but they wonder if it's for them. So I'm really going through the whole idea of who are you? Why are you here? We look at deeply in terms of purpose. Um, what's the programming that's kind of holding you back? And try to help people to what I call define their sacred work, and to define whether that is coaching or not. And so those are a lot of the people that I work with. And I also work with coaches who are just stuck, heart-centered, purpose-driven, usually women who are stuck, and they just don't know how to get unstuck. And some of the traditional kind of business methods don't work for them because they're much more on the spiritual, intuitive side. And they need to define much more clearly who they are. And I think that that's what a lot of empathic women don't do, is define who they truly are. And that makes a huge difference in them really getting clear on what they do.
Do you think that this period of pandemic is almost like a renaissance of life for a lot of us?
For a lot of us,
Like a rebirth?
I think of it as a rebirth. If you're somewhat aware, so there's been this space, and so for many people, they stopped going every day all the time. And so there's been this period where they can reflect and think and even feel, does my life feel like it's right for me? Is this something? What am I doing? What makes sense and what doesn't? Because there have been so many nonsensical things that have happened over the last 3 years, and people are yeah, and people are so angry about so many things. And it's like, I think there was a big dependence on the external world to tell you who you are and what you're supposed to do with your life. And that is loosening its grip. And so this is, I think, where people are having this, who am I? This search for meaning. And yeah, I would call it a bit of a renaissance. I think now's the time. I always call it, and I'm going to talk about this in the talk that I do, but I always call it like it's a volcano that's erupted. That's what I see as this time. A volcano that's erupted, and something's ended, and there's something else, but we don't know what it is yet. And that's where I think so many people are.
Now, do you think that this is like specific to the West? You
Well, I
think if
live
we
in the
went to like Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa, this same kind of um, time of seeking purpose and all that is going to be there the same way it is in sort of North America, maybe Europe?
That's a really good question. So I live in the West, so I can speak about the West, but I
Yeah.
don't live in Southeast Asia. But I have clients, for example, in Southeast Asia and different continents, and my clients are saying the same kind of thing.
Okay.
So I tend to think it's global. I tend to think it's global. And I even have family in Greece. Same kind of, and interestingly enough, the difference is that in countries that are not sort of tied in to this whole Western machine that
Hmm.
I call that pirate world, by the way. The whole
Pirate
Western
world.
pirate world, yeah, the
Okay.
machine where it's only making money and getting power over people that is important. The countries that aren't tied into that are countries like, for example, Greece or the island of Crete, where life is really simple. You It's family and earth and grounded and being outside and being in nature. It's completely different, and I think that that's what in the West we're yearning for. We're yearning to get out of pirate world, and nobody knows how to do it.
I don't even know what it's called. I mean, you
Yeah,
didn't
they
even
don't
know
know.
it's pirates.
Yeah, they don't
It's
even
the
know it's
first time I
called.
heard that.
I made it up.
I figured, but for sure, it's a perfect visual for what that is, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's like, that's where we've been, and we've been kind of unconscious, completely unconscious to
Okay.
the fact that we're living in a world where we're programmed to be and do things to perpetuate pirate world. And we don't even know it until we get miserable. And then we think, oh, something's wrong with me. Why it's wrong with me? How come I'm so unhappy? How come that person beside me is fine and I'm unhappy? Well, it's not actually you. And maybe it's you. You're lucky it's you because you actually can see or feel that something's wrong. So, yeah,
So
that's
you
what I
think
think.
do you think that the pandemic years kind of pushed us or shook
I,
us into like
I,
question, recognizing that first of all that's the pirate world, but what is my world? That
I
gave
think
us
it's
that opportunity.
I think it shook us. I think it did two things. I think it planted some people firmly in pirate world. I'm
Okay.
staying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm doubling down, digging harder. And then others said, "Holy crap. Something's going on and we can't rely on the external world. We have to do something that brings us life, that makes us come alive, that does something that's good for the world." That's what I think. So it's been a split. And I don't think I think it's yeah, that's what I think is going on.
So you decided to join the spiritual summit that that's taking place here in Ottawa on April 22nd. And can you tell us a little bit about, say, Unlock Your Hidden Genius and what inspired you to sort of say, oh, that's this place for me to be? I'm going to come all the way from Amos, Quebec.
Well, I'm actually in Gatineau a lot, and
Oh,
when you're online, you can be anywhere. So, but I'm really happy to actually be in person
hmm.
because when you do a lot of work online, it's so much more fun to be in person and to feel the energy of people and to sort of look and see people. I'm excited about that, but that's where this unlocking your hidden genius is all about. So your hidden genius is both the gifts that are come naturally to you that are often hidden, and it's also the purpose or your reason why, like what you have to offer to the world. That's your hidden genius, and we don't learn about that. We aren't taught that. And so many people are taught to hide the quality that's the best about them. Like, for example, when you're a kid, if somebody said to you, "You talk too much." So you start, okay, I try to talk less. That wasn't my case, by the way. My case was actually, I was super shy.
Oh, wow.
And I was told, you got to talk more, you got to express more. Not interesting, but I was really shy. So there's always a quality. And then there's the people who are sort of intuitive, empathic, spiritual, and they've been told that their gifts aren't real. They've been
Aren't
told,
real. Right.
aren't
Okay.
real. Hide them, don't do it, don't talk about that. And I can't tell you how many like training sessions or conferences that I went to when I was a corporate employee, because I was a corporate employee back in the day. And I would end up with groups of women pulling tarot cards in the middle, in the like on the side.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this whole idea in Hidden Genius is to actually define who you are different from who others are telling you to be, because we're so unconscious to those messages, that programming, that we don't even know who we are. And so it's unlocking that hidden genius and using it is your pathway. Because the truth of the matter is, we came here to be who we are, not for some lofty purpose, to be who we are. And for me, that's the lofty purpose, right? To be fully, unflinchingly, unapologetically you. That's your purpose. And that's incredibly hard to do.
So you're going to give us a workshop, or you're offering people who want to do a workshop on April 22nd?
Yes.
And what can we expect from that workshop? It's really short, but
the workshop's super. I'm doing a talk, which is Roadmap to Your Soul's Calling, so you'll get the overview of what this all is, right? And it's really, I think, especially if you're a coach or a healer, it's a great framework for you to get unstuck and get going in your coaching and healing. And even if you're not a coach or a healer, you might have always had that in the background, that that's something that is for you. I think this would be great for you. So that's the talk that I'm talking about, the roadmap. So we start with the volcano, and I'll talk all about that.
okay.
But part of this is the mini workshop I'm going to do afterwards. It's called Unlock Your Hidden Genius, because it's a big part of the roadmap. And this is the part where you start to name and claim who you are, what's important to you. And what's so interesting is people always think they're really different. I mean, they're the same as everybody else. But as soon as we start this work, you just start to see how different everybody is and how amazing that is, because it's claiming that difference that we need to do. When you spend your whole life fitting in, you actually don't know what makes you stand out. And if you don't know what makes you stand out, you can't do your thing in the world. And so that's what this workshop is about. It's finding, what is it that makes you stand out? What is that difference? And we'll do some sort of practical exercises in the brief workshop that I do, that we can get to that. I think it's going to be fun. Super fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I'm excited to listen to everybody.
I know, me too.
If people want to find out, yeah, a huge variety.
Huge
variety. I mean, I get to talk to them all through these.
I know, you're lucky. You're so lucky.
But so if people want more information, this is the website to go check you out on, soulscallingacademy.com.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to contact you before, even, they could probably find a way to do that through that website.
Yeah, they can, because I have, contact page, and I have freebies that they can get. And so they might even want to get some of the freebies. And so when they come to the live event, they'll know a little more and have even more questions to ask. And that'll be super fun. I love meeting people.
And if you haven't picked up your early bird ticket to the event, you can go to woospiritualsummit.com. And if you wanted, if you want to do one, there's, I think, 8 or 9, 10, maybe 10 workshops that are going to be offered through the day. For all the speakers who are presenting, they all have a workshop, and you would have to either approach them individually, or you can find all that information on Eventbrite. And looking forward to meeting you, Bev.
Me too.
Thank you so much again for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your day. It's a super sunny day. Oh,
yes, it's sunny and cold up here. Thank you.
Yeah, it was cold. It's definitely cold.